Have y'all seen this video?
If we wind up purchasing anything of Greenland, our history is we have the Democrats act like this is a totally new thing that we would purchase and buy another country's possession, and yet we bought Alaska from Russia.
Well, if you look at the Louisiana Purchase or any big acquisition or movement to expand the United States territories, it's always been pushed through the executive branch. That's just the way we've designed it. However, I think Congress should support that. I don't think there's a downside to it. I think some people were very worried about the cost of Alaska at one time. It turned out it's pretty profitable.
Okay, so we're not just going to breeze past that, because using Alaska as an example is actually proving the opposite of what they think it proves. So let's break this down. When the US bought Alaska in 1867, Russia sold it for $7.2 million as a strategic buffer. But here's the part they never mention. Russia didn't ask the native people living there, including the Tlingit, because it didn't recognize them as sovereign in the first place. And when the US took over, it was the same energy. No consultation, no treaties, no consent. Just military control, economic extraction, and violent suppression of resistance. So when people say, yeah, but Alaska worked out, what they really mean is the US got what it wanted after ignoring indigenous voices. That's not a success story. That's colonialism aging well for the winner. Now fast forward to Greenland, and here's the problem with the comparison. This time, the indigenous people are speaking. And they're saying no. You see, Greenland isn't some empty Arctic chessboard. It has elected leadership, it's majority Inuit, and the Prime Minister has been very clear that US demands for unlimited military access are not cooperation, they're sovereignty erosion. Greenlanders have literally said the US would be no better colonizer. That's not rhetoric, that's lived historical memory talking. And let's be honest about what's really happening here. This whole push to rewrite this 1951 agreement isn't about buying Greenland. It's about removing limits on US military basing, especially at Patuxent Space Base, and turning access into dominance. That's how modern empires work. You don't need annexation, you don't need a flag, you just build infrastructure so permanent that local veto power becomes meaningless. Ownership without ownership. Control without consent. So when Republicans say, we did this with Alaska, they're accidentally admitting something crucial, that the Alaska model only worked because indigenous sovereignty was ignored. And now they're trying to replay that same strategy in a world where indigenous people have microphones, governments, and international visibility. That's not history repeating, that's history trying to sneak back in through a NATO press release. So here's the real question. If the Alaska Purchase required silencing native voices to succeed, why should Greenlanders believe this time will be any different? Because right now, this doesn't look like national security. It looks like colonialism with better PR. What do y'all think?